This isn't right, Captain. I. I remember signing up for this mission with my sister, but I don't have a sister. Ensign Carter's voice trembled, his hands gripping the edge of the metallic table in the dimly lit mess hall. His wide eyes darted around the room, searching for validation in the faces of his crewmates. Carter, calm down, Captain Lena Torres said, her tone firm but not unkind. She leaned forward, her hands clasped tightly on the table. You're not the only one experiencing this. Whatever's happening, we'll figure it out. But panicking won't help. It's not just him, Lieutenant Vega interjected, her usually composed demeanor cracked by a hint of unease. I have memories of a childhood pet, a golden retriever named Max. But I grew up on Luna Station. Pets weren't allowed. A heavy silence settled over the room. The hum of the ship's engine seemed louder, almost oppressive, as if the vessel itself were straining under the weight of their collective confusion. This can't be a coincidence, Dr. Alara Voss said, breaking the silence. The ship's medical officer was seated at the far end of the table, her brow furrowed in thought. The first cases started after we passed through the nebula, 12 anomaly. Whatever this is, it's affecting our neural pathways, implanting false memories or altering existing ones. But why? Carter's voice cracked. Why would whatever this is mess with our memories? What's the point? Maybe it's not intentional, Voss replied. It could be a side effect of exposure to something we don't understand. An alien pathogen, a radiation field, who knows? The anomaly was unlike anything we've encountered before. Torres tapped her fingers against the table, her mind racing. Vega, run a full diagnostic on the ship systems. See if there's any correlation between the anomaly and the onset of these symptoms. Dr. Voss, I want a detailed report on everyone's medical scans. Look for any commonalities. Understood, Vega and Voss said in unison, though their tones carried the weight of uncertainty. And the rest of us? Carter asked, his voice small. Torres met his gaze, her expression resolute. We keep doing our jobs. We can't let this derail the mission. Whatever's happening, we'll face it together. As the crew dispersed to their assignments, the captain lingered in the mess hall, staring at the table. Her own memories had been haunting her since the anomaly. A vivid recollection of a daughter she never had. A little girl with curly black hair and a laugh that echoed in her mind like a song she couldn't forget. But she didn't have children. She never had. Hours later, Torres stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the vast expanse of stars visible through the viewport. The ship's AI, Athena, chimed in with its usual monotone precision. Captain, I have analyzed the crew's recent behavior and neural activity. There are anomalies consistent with memory fabrication or alteration. What's causing it, Athena? Torres asked, her voice steady despite the growing unease in her chest. The data suggests a correlation with the nebula 12 anomaly. However, the exact mechanism remains unidentified. Further analysis is required, Torres sighed, pinching the bridge of her nose. Keep working on it. Notify me the moment you find anything. Acknowledged. Just as Torres turned to leave the bridge, Vega's voice crackled over the comms. Captain, you need to see this. I'm in engineering. Moments later, Torres arrived in the engineering bay, where Vega was standing before a holographic display. The projection showed a detailed map of the ship systems, overlaid with a web of glowing red lines. What am I looking at? Torres asked. Residual energy signatures, Vega explained. They're scattered throughout the ship, but they're strongest in the areas where the first cases were reported. Torres frowned. Could this be the source of the memory alterations? It's possible, Vega said. But here's the thing. These signatures don't match any known energy patterns. It's like they don't belong here. Before Torres could respond, the ship's lights flickered, and an eerie hum resonated through the walls. The crew's voices echoed over the comms, a cacophony of confusion and fear. Captain, Athena's voice interrupted. I am detecting a significant spike in neural activity among the crew. The anomalies are intensifying. Torres' grip on the railing tightened. Whatever was happening, it was escalating, and they were running out of time to stop it. Dr. Voss worked tirelessly in the medbay, her eyes scanning through a series of neural scans displayed on her monitor. The patterns were chaotic, unlike anything she had ever seen. She tapped her comm badge. "Captain, I've identified a peculiar marker in the scans. It's present in every affected crew member, but it's not human. It's as if something external has embedded itself in their neural pathways. Can you remove it?" Torres' voice came through, tinged with hope. "Not without risking severe brain damage," Voss admitted. "We need to understand what it is first. It's like a signature, but it's alive, adapting." "Alive?" Torres repeated, her stomach sinking. "Are you saying this is some kind of organism?" "That's my working theory," Voss replied. "But it's unlike any life form we've encountered. It doesn't have a physical presence, at least not in the traditional sense. It exists purely in the neural networks of its hosts." "Keep me updated," Torres said, ending the call. Meanwhile, in the crew quarters, Ensign Carter sat on his bunk, staring at a photo he had found in his locker. It was of him and a young woman with strikingly similar features. His supposed sister, the one he knew didn't exist. But the longer he looked at the photo, the more real she felt. He could hear her voice in his mind, laughing, teasing him like siblings do. "Carter," a voice called, snapping him out of his thoughts. It was Lieutenant Vega, standing in the doorway. "You okay?" "I don't know," he admitted. "I feel like I'm losing my grip on reality. The memories, they're so vivid. It's like I'm living two lives at once." Vega stepped inside, her expression softening. "You're not alone in this. We're all feeling it, but we'll get through it together." Carter nodded, though the doubt lingered in his eyes. Back on the bridge, Torres convened a meeting with her senior staff. "We need answers, and we need them fast. Vega, focus on those energy signatures. Voss, keep analyzing the neural markers. Athena, cross-reference everything we know with the ship's database and look for any historical records of similar phenomena." "Understood," they replied in unison. As the meeting adjourned, Torres lingered, staring out at the stars once more. Somewhere out there was the answer to this mystery. She just had to find it before the crew's reality unraveled completely. The ship's corridors seemed to hum with an unnatural energy as Captain Torres made her way back to her quarters. Every step felt heavier, as though the weight of the crew's collective confusion was pressing down on her. When she entered her room, she froze. On her desk lay a photograph she had never seen before. It was of her and a young girl with curly black hair, the daughter from her fabricated memories. The image was so vivid, so tangible, that for a moment, she couldn't tell if it was real or another trick of her mind. Her comm badge chirped, breaking the spell. "Captain, it's Voss. You need to come to the medbay immediately." Torres grabbed the photo, shoving it into her pocket as she hurried out the door. In the medbay, Dr. Voss was hunched over a holographic display, her fingers flying across the controls. She didn't look up as Torres entered. "Captain, I've isolated the foreign neural marker and run simulations. It's more than just an organism. It's intelligent." "Intelligent?" Torres echoed, her voice a mix of disbelief and dread. Voss nodded, finally meeting her gaze. "It's not just embedding memories. It's communicating, or trying to." Torres stepped closer, her eyes narrowing. "Communicating how?" "It's using the memories as a medium," Voss explained. "Every false memory contains patterns, signals, almost like a language. But it's fragmented, incomplete." Torres frowned. "What happens if we decode it?" Voss hesitated. "That's the problem. If we interact with it, there's a risk it could spread further. It's already deeply rooted in the crew's neural networks. Any disruption could trigger unpredictable consequences." Torres' jaw tightened. "We don't have a choice. We need to understand what we're dealing with." Meanwhile, in the engineering bay, Lieutenant Vega and her team were analyzing the energy signatures. The patterns were erratic, pulsing like a heartbeat. As they adjusted the sensors, the readings suddenly spiked. "Lieutenant, the energy's concentrating near the bridge," one of the engineers reported. Vega's stomach dropped. "Notify the captain. I'm heading there now." On the bridge, Torres was reviewing the ship's logs when the lights dimmed, and the eerie hum returned, louder this time. Athena's voice cut through the noise. Captain, the energy signatures have converged on this location. I am detecting a surge in neural activity among the crew. Before Torres could respond, a wave of dizziness washed over her. She gripped the console for support as images flooded her mind. Memories that weren't hers. A planet bathed in golden light. Beings made of pure energy, their forms shifting and shimmering. A sense of urgency, a desperate plea for help. The visions faded as quickly as they had come, leaving Torres gasping for breath. She looked around the bridge, seeing similar reactions among her crew. Athena, she managed, her voice hoarse. What just happened? I believe the entity is attempting to communicate directly, Athena replied. The surge was a form of transmission. Torres straightened, her mind racing. Can we respond? It may be possible to create a feedback loop using the energy signatures, Athena said. However, the risks are significant. The entity's influence could expand, or the crew's neural pathways could be further compromised. Torres took a deep breath. Prepare the loop. We're out of options. In the medbay, Voss monitored the crew's neural activity as Athena initiated the feedback loop. The ship's systems hummed with an almost musical resonance, and the energy patterns began to stabilize. Then, a voice echoed through the ship. It wasn't human, but it was clear, resonating in every corner of the vessel. We are the Echo. Torres' eyes widened. The Echo? What does that mean? We are fragments, remnants of a lost civilization. Our essence, scattered through the void. We seek connection. Why are you altering our memories? Torres demanded. To understand, the Echo replied. Your memories are the bridge. Through them, we rebuild. Remember, exist. Torres' heart ached at the desperation in the voice. You're hurting my crew. You have to stop. Unintended, the Echo said. We adapt. But fragile minds cannot withstand. Torres exchanged a glance with Voss, who was furiously analyzing the data. Captain, Voss said, if we can stabilize the energy signatures, we might be able to isolate the Echo without further harm to the crew. Torres nodded. Do it. As Voss and Vega worked to stabilize the energy, the Echo's presence began to wane. The false memories faded, leaving the crew disoriented but relieved. In the aftermath, Torres stood on the bridge, staring out at the stars. The Echo's final words echoed in her mind. Thank you for helping us. Remember, she didn't know if they had truly saved the Echo or merely delayed its dissolution, but one thing was certain. The encounter had left an indelible mark on her and her crew. The line between reality and memory had blurred, but they had emerged stronger, united by the shared experience of facing the unknown. And somewhere, in the vast expanse of space, the Echo's fragments drifted, carrying the memories of a civilization that refused to be forgotten.